In today's video, we're going to be taking the brand new balance changes and throwing them into effect into a couple decks. As you can see, it is not the new season yet. It's got a couple more days until it comes out, but in today's video, we're going to play around with a couple decks. Obviously, we're not going to be able to test them out really with the balance changes in effect, but we're going to build some decks that we can speculate and think are going to do really well in the next season for you guys, so we can start to really develop some top 5 decks for the next season, guys, with these balance changes in effect, of course. So leave a like if you're excited for the balance changes, guys. I am super hyped. All of them look really good, obviously. We got all the cards being nerfed and changed right here. As you can see, there's about 16 total. Pretty awesome stuff. So we're going to be taking a couple decks, obviously, from the old meta, making them really meta, and we're going to take some new decks and start creating them, thinking of ideas so you guys can use them in your battles to absolutely crush opponents who are not ready for the season change. So this is going to be more of a laid-back video. Obviously, this has been the deck I've been absolutely crushing people with on ladder. Just kidding. No, I haven't. I've been getting folded from the Fire Spirit, obviously, but since the Fire Spirit, guys, is getting changed, so it will not be able to kill that Goblin Barrel, that's going to be really solid for Goblin Barrel and bait players, obviously, right? So that is what we're thinking here. So I'm thinking, obviously, the Tesla's getting nerfed as well. We're going to go ahead and throw in the Inferno Tower, guys. The Inferno Tower will be okay. We can 100% consider Bomb Tower as well instead of hitting Tesla or Inferno Tower, but I think I'm going to go for an Inferno Tower here, guys, so we can actually counter Golem players entirely. Not only do you have the Electro Spirit to chain lightning all of those bats that the Night Witch now will get, even since there's no more Death Spawn, I mean, the Electro Spirit and the Princess are going to be super strong against Golem. This deck will absolutely annihilate Golem, guys, and instead of the Rocket here, we're going to do it, dude. We're going to throw in the brand new Poison spell, allowing this deck to be one of the strongest decks I've seen on defense in a very long time. How else can we change this to make this more meta, you'd think? I'm not honestly sure. We're going to think about this, guys. So the Valkyrie's awesome. The 1-unit skeletons provide a very fast cycle, and the Poison instead of the Rocket allows us to be a 2.9 average elixir cost log bait deck that could actually be insanely strong in the meta, because not only will you be able to keep up with those fast hog cycle decks with your Inferno Tower, but you can also tag up their towers with the Poison. You can cycle with some logs to get damage. You can obviously out-cycle them with your Goblin Barrel, and now that pretty much a snowball or a log will have to do the damage to the Goblin Barrel, guys. Not having a Rocket in here will be risky, but the Poison will allow you to win a lot more matchups that would have, like, otherwise been really tricky, I think, because when you have Poison, like, let's say on a Lumberjack Balloon push, the Poison on that, along with the Inferno Tower, I believe will completely shut it down. Obviously, we don't know exactly how much the Poison will slow down the Lumberjack and Balloon, but it's going to be way easier, I think, and this deck has a great chance of just being taken over in the meta. Obviously, we can make some other changes, like you have the Tombstone, you have the Stab Goblins, a whole bunch of other cards being changed as well, which we could definitely think about throwing in. The guards can honestly be in here as well. If the guards are really good, you definitely could throw in the guards for the skeletons, but for now, we're going to leave this for deck number 1 today. I think this is a pretty awesome version. This might be really good in the next meta, and obviously, if you're seeing Royal Pigs everywhere, Royal Hogs, then you're probably going to want to throw in a Bomb Tower instead of the Inferno Tower, but even not, I mean, this deck completely counters the Royal Hogs, which you may be seeing every other match, just because they're getting the buff, obviously. You have the Log, you have the Poison, you have Valkyrie, the Electro Spirit Princess, and Inferno Tower to shut those down, and obviously the 1-unit skeletons, guys, they can do quite a bit of damage to those piggies as well, if left unharmed. So that could be a really good deck for the next season. Let's get into just building a brand new fresh deck for the next season. It pains me to do this, but I think we're going to go ahead and build a Lumberjack Balloon deck, guys. Now obviously we're going to take a look and see what other cards are good. So the Lumberjack Balloon cycle deck with the Snowball is going to be more viable than ever, because the Snowball, if it can counter Goblin Barrel, I mean, that's going to be awesome for this deck. And we can also, thinking about things, guys, you can toss in a Hunter here. Will the Hunter buff be enough? I'm not entirely sure. I'm hoping it is, because if it is, I mean, this deck is going to crush. You can see you have the Lumberjack Balloon, Hunter, and Snowball. Now the Hunter would, I'd say, be in spot of the Musketeer, but you are going to need one more card for air units. So we got to think of it to ourselves, like, what else could this be? Could it be a Mother Witch? Could it be a Bomber? I'm thinking maybe we throw in the bomb. Okay, how are we going to do this? We got to think about this, guys. We got to think about this. So the Mega Minion was not touched. It's a very strong card in the game. Instead of bats, because I really don't like bats with the Lumberjack Balloon cycle, we could throw in a Mega Minion and see how that works there. And then the Heal Spirit, not going to be the best. Electro Spirit and Fire Spirit are going to be pretty strong. Obviously, the Fire Spirit is getting the nerf, so I think we're going to stick for an Electro Spirit, and we already have one spell. So we're going to need to think to ourselves what other spell would make sense in here. I think we got to go for like an Arrows or a Fireball or a Poison. Will the Poison actually be good in this deck? Defensively, I'm thinking absolutely. And do you need a tower in a deck like this? Normally, the Lumberjack Balloon cycle, I believe, had Tesla in it last meta, just because Tesla was obviously so strong. But with a deck like this, it's only 3.3 average elixir cost. You could throw in, honestly, a Bomb Tower for some splash damage, because you don't have a ton of splash damage here, besides the 100% of the Poison. So maybe the Bomb Tower will actually have a nice spot in this deck. Defensively, you do have air counters. You have the Hunter and you have the Mega Minion. You don't really have a ground tank in this one besides the Lumberjack, so if you want to go on the attack, you're going to need to obviously make up for that by not having a ground tank. If Dark Prince is obviously really meta, if a double Prince is in the meta, or like P.E.K.K.A.'s, like this deck I don't think will do very well against P.E.K.K.A. bridge spam at all. You don't really have a whole lot of firepower against that P.E.K.K.A., so that might just be a really bad matchup. Or does that mean you want the Inferno Tower over the Bomb Tower? I'm not entirely sure, but this is definitely a possibility here. If you're not going against P.E.K.K.A. bridge spam, I'm wondering what this deck would struggle with, right? I'm thinking Golem, it might be okay. The Lumberjack could do a great spot here, and something tough about this deck, obviously, is that if they can counter your Lumberjack and Balloon, you might be in a really tough spot there. But other than that, I'm actually pretty happy with these decks, guys. So this one's super fast cycling, log bait, completely new meta style here. And this one right here is a Lumberjack Balloon with the new Snowball Hunter. And now I think obviously all you guys are going to want this. We're going to build the third deck here. We might build another one because this is actually a lot of fun building the decks. And keep in mind, guys, if you've made it this far, first of all, thank you for watching this much into the video. But keep in mind that these are very new versions. We literally we're not going to even battle with them today. We're just building them and speculating some ideas, getting your guys' ideas flowing. So then in the comments or by the next time we're going to be able to actually try these out, then we have a great idea of what will work well and maybe what we can use to try out. So if you guys have any ideas for decks that you want me to see if they work and stuff, comment them down below. Obviously we're accepting any ideas. These are all the cards being changed and we are not even close to really using all of them. So I'm staying away from Electro Giant in today's video. I'm staying away from the Mother Witch. We're gonna let them vibe. Obviously I don't know if the Mother Witch will be too much worse than she already was, because not many people carry arrows and log. I guess a couple do, but a lot of decks don't have that. I don't think I have a single deck actually that carries that, but the Royal Giant's going to be interesting, the Goblin Drill's going to be interesting, but now the Royal Hogs. How are we going to make these work in a deck? And honestly, I'm thinking Royal Recruits, obviously, but Royal Recruits have not been the best. So I'm really wondering what we should go for here. I mean, we could go Royal Hogs Bandit. Bandit is a very strong card that was not touched in the balance changes. She is, if you guys saw CWA's legendary or top 5 cards every rarity, the Bandit was #1, guys, in the legendary rarity, which is impressive, and I honestly agree with that. Bandit definitely can do a lot of work here. The Tombstone's really interesting. I really don't think it's going to be too meta here. I think we're going to go for a Fireball to see what's going on. So we could maybe try and make a deck that is a little bit firebait that also will help the Royal Hogs. So if we throw in Zappies here as well, look at how much Zap bait we're going to have, guys. The Zappies are going to be awesome. Will the Hunter be meta? If so, the Hunter should 100% go in this deck, guys, because you do have a lot of ground tanks. So the Royal Hogs here going to be solid. The Hunter potentially might be solid. And I mean, this is, like I said, we don't actually know if the Hunter buff is going to be enough. But this is certainly a good way to test it, right? To try some of these decks out. We're going to go ahead and throw in a Barb Barrel here as well. Or a Snowball, actually. Snowball is going to be the better answer, guys. The Snowball will counter the Goblin Barrel just like the Barbarian Barrel will. And you can also take out Skeletons, Goblin Gangs, Bats, anything they may place for that Royal Hogs. You can Snowball that down, guys. And it obviously resets Inferno Tower, Inferno Dragons, which will also help. So this deck right here is looking really interesting. Instead of the Fireball, honestly, we could throw in the Poison Spell. Why not? Let's swap this out, guys. Let's swap this out. So the poison goes in. Battle Ram will move. But honestly, though, we're getting somewheres with this, guys. We are getting somewheres with this deck. What could be the final card here? So 3.7 average elixir cost. That is getting up there, guys. It's getting up there. This is not a Psycho deck right now. Do we need a Psycho card like an Electro Spirit? I think an Electro Spirit might really help this deck out, guys, because I'm trying to think. So if we were to face P.E.K.K.A. bridge spam with this deck, it would be pretty tough. It would be pretty tough, I would say. What do we need here? So we have our Tank Buster. We can kill the air units really well. We have some cheap spells. The Poison will take care of stuff. Electro Giant, this deck might struggle against. I guess you'd have to use Zappies, but they might have Lightning. Let's think about this, guys. So a Mega Minion probably wouldn't be the best. Arrows probably wouldn't be the best either. I mean, we're scrolling through. Skeleton Dragons are some more Fireball bait, but I don't necessarily think that's something we want. Let's find something here, guys. The Elite Barbs are obviously really strong. Let's toss them in for a second and see how we feel about this, guys. Elite Barbarians on defense will be the ultimate tank buster and shut down pretty much anything you can be worried about here. It's 4.0 average elixir cost. The deck looks pretty crazy, actually. Right now, I would say this deck would honestly still be okay in this current meta, but like we said, once these balance changes come out, this could be a very good deck. I'm not going to lie. The Elite Barbarians are very strong. The Snowball will accompany the Elite Barbarians and the Royal Hogs on attack. And defensively, like we said, guys, this deck can now shut down Goblin Barrel flawlessly, whereas before you would have a major disadvantage going against that Goblin Barrel. Now, I'm trying to think of what would be a bad matchup here. Golem, I was going to say maybe, but you have the Poison, you have the Hunter, and Zappies. What would shut this deck down? Possibly Lumberjack Balloon. I honestly don't think so, though, because if you have enough Elixir, I mean, the Zappies and Hunter will shut that down, along with the Poison spell. You don't have any towers, so I guess Hog Cycle might struggle, but even then, you have the Hunter and Elite Barbarians to deal with that Hog Rider, guys. What would this deck lose to? I'm not entirely sure. We're going to take these decks in once the new season is here. I'm excited, guys. As you can see, we've been speculating. We've been thinking these 3 decks here today are going to be fun to use. They're going to be strong. Obviously, we can definitely make them better still. We got to test out these cards and see if they're even all that. If the Hunter is what people are saying he's going to be, this could be huge, guys. And I mean, if the Hunter is still not the best, then we could obviously swap out the Hunter for something else that does a little bit more damage. Maybe a Dark Prince. He'll always be good in the meta. Thinking about that, guys, I don't know if this deck would counter the Goblin Drill really well. Although the Goblin Drill got nerfed, so would it be enough? I'm not entirely sure, guys. We'll have to find out, obviously, but the Goblin Drill got nerfed, so hopefully less and less people are going to be using that, obviously. So I'm super excited for these decks. This one right here looking really promising. I'm a Logbait fan myself. As you can see, I pretty much have every card in this deck maxed, besides the Poison, because it's never really been meta when I've been playing Logbait, but we also have the Lumberjack Balloon here. We have options. This one's interesting. I'm not sure I've ever seen a deck like this. I would say it's Lumberjack Balloon cycle, but it's not super fast of a cycle. So it's interesting to see. Will this deck work out? I'm not entirely sure yet. Obviously, you can throw in the bats here if you want to make it faster cycling. I mean, I guess we can check that out. It does make it a lot faster. I mean, 3.3, that's going to be a pretty quick Lumberjack Balloon cycle deck. Maybe you need an Ice Golem, though. Instead of the Electro Spirit, let's toss in an Ice Golem. The Electro Spirit, I mean, it's a great card, but since you have the Poison in there, I'm not sure you necessarily need it. So, 3.4 average Elixir cost, guys. This is interesting to me. This is interesting. I mean, you got the answers, I think. The Ice Golem will be great on defense. You can also put an Ice Golem in front of that Balloon, keep in mind, or the Lumberjack. Could be a strong deck, and this one here, I'm really interested to see if people are going to start using decks like this. Because defensively, you got so many answers, and then offensively, you can overpower your opponents if you play it correctly. So this deck looks fun, dude. I want to try this one out once the balance changes are here. Let me know. Like I said, guys, if you have any ideas, comment them down below. I'd love to hear from you guys, but hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. Master Diddy San, out.